Hey, y'all from Tennessee. Welcome to the State and Beal podcast. This is the place where we celebrate Tennessee. Yes, Tennessee, the volunteer state, the Big Bend state, the hog and hominy state. On this show, we love Tennessee from State Street in Bristol to Beale Street in Memphis, with apologies to Mountain City. So get it, State and Beale? Yep, you got it. Okay, sorry. Tennessee is so many things, and I am lucky that I've called it home all my life. My name is Toby Sells. I've been a newspaper reporter in this great state since I was a teenager, and that was, well, that's been a long while, folks, let me tell you what. I've had a front row seat to Tennessee all those years, and I'm still fascinated. If you just took Tennessee's music alone, that's a huge gift to the world. Do you like country music? Do you like rock and roll? Neither one of them would be what they are today without Tennessee, the Carter family in Bristol, and Elvis here in Memphis. And I'm not just talking about a style of music, I'm talking about an entire genre of music. Okay, I'm getting excited, but dang if I do get excited when I'm talking about Tennessee. Here on State and Beal, we're going to talk about music, of course, and this week it's Songwriters Week in Tennessee, and my guest today and his band are finalists in the contest. We'll talk with Stephen Garrett, lead singer and songwriter of Garrett Boys. It's a family band, and they are great. The song you're hearing now is Me and This Land. It's a Garrett Boys song, and it helped them advance through all the rounds of Songwriters Week so far and landed them a spot in a showcase show in Portland on Thursday. We'll tell you more about that later in the show and hear from Stephen about his band, his music, and the reverence Tennessee has for its songwriters. But State and Beal will be about more than just music. This show is about Tennessee culture, what it means to be a Tennessean, and how we live our lives. So it's a lifestyle show. We'll talk about people and places, food, the outdoors, crafts, home and garden, fashion, events, and anything that makes Tennessee, Tennessee. However, we will not talk about politics, religion, or money, because Mama raised us right. Anyhow, that's what this show is about, and if you like that, you found the right place. I hope State and Beal makes you love to live in Tennessee or makes you long to be in Tennessee. I do have a website. Admittedly, there's not a whole lot going on over there right now, but there will be soon. But go over there to stateandbeal.com, have a gander, and if you like, you can drop me your email address, and I'll keep you up to date on what's going on with State and Beal. In the meantime, please follow this show wherever you get podcasts for a brand new episode every week. Tennessee Songwriters Week is like those talent shows on television. You know, America's Got Talent, The Voice, and all of those. The difference, though, is that Songwriters Week is just better. And Tennessee Songwriters, it's different here. We really do revere anyone who can write a song. So the state of Tennessee organized Songwriters Week, and this year is the 5th annual event. And here's what the state says about the week on its website. It says, the week celebrates the foundation of the craft for which Tennessee is known, music. Tennessee is the home of 7 genres of music, making it not only a vital part of our state's culture and heritage, but arguably our biggest export to the world. In Songwriters Week, artists hop on stages all over the state and sing songs they wrote. A panel of judges picks their favorites, and the winning artists move on to the next round. The first showcased event was held here in Memphis last night at Lafayette's Music Room. Other shows happen all over the state all this week, and winners of those shows will be invited to the world-famous Bluebird Cafe for a big show next month. Stephen Garrett and his band Garrett Boys will perform in Portland on Thursday. The band is Stephen Garrett, Russell Garrett, and Carter Garrett. Stephen and Russell are brothers. Carter is Stephen's son, and they've got that music magic that just happens when a family plays together. Garrett Boys originally hail from Livingston, Tennessee. That's Overton County, high up on the Cumberland Plateau. I know it well because that's where I'm from too. And I went to school with Stephen and Russell and even played in a band with them. I was terrible. They were not, but they were nice enough to have me anyway. Before we get to our talk with Stephen, I just wanted to let you know that I had audio issues recording the interview this week, so it doesn't sound great. That's on me, and the sound will be better in future episodes, I promise, so stick with me. All right, let's get on with the show. Hey, y'all, my very first guest on this brand new podcast, State and Beal podcast, is Stephen Garrett.
Stephen is the singer and a songwriter for a new band called the Garrett Boys. I have really been enjoying the Garrett Boys music since y'all started putting stuff out. When did it start coming out? Like last year?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the whole thing sort of started a while ago. We started writing songs that were just sort of more about back home and a little bit of a deeper dive personally for us, family wise and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it really started to put skin on that skeleton last year.
Yeah, it's amazing. We're going to get into home and we're going to get into all those things because we've got a lot to talk about there. I want to kind of start back and talk about Songwriters Week a little bit. This is through the state of Tennessee puts on this event. And like I said, this week is going to be the culmination of that. It started last night with a show here in Memphis from Lafayette's Music Room. Tonight, Monday, is a show at the Bijou Theater in Knoxville. Chattanooga on Tuesday at Songbird's Guitar and Pop Culture Museum. Wednesday's show is in Gatlinburg at Old Red Gatlinburg. Thursday is in Johnson City at the Down Home. Friday is the Portland show at the Temple Theater. That's where you're going to see the Garrett Boys. Saturday's show is at the Franklin Theater there in Franklin. But again, these are kind of the finals of all of these things, but you had to go through a lot of qualifying rounds to get there. Stephen, and so Garrett Boys have been part of this process here. Talk about this process and how do you where do you even start on this thing?
Yeah, so the contest starts locally in I don't know how many little towns and big towns throughout the state. We participated last year. We started in Livingston, which is our hometown. They had a competition there last year and this year, and so that's like the first round. And so this is kind of a launch for the Garrett Boys, sort of by accident. We had been going back and forth, which we're still sort of in this spot, but do we create our music and release our music first, or do we just start playing some shows? And so we sort of were like, well, let's just start playing some shows. And about that time, we ran into this songwriters competition for Tennessee Songwriters Week, and they were doing a round in Livingston. So we're like, heck yeah, let's do that. With really no thought of like, what if we win?
Yeah.
We didn't have photos or a bio or anything. So we go and do that last year, and we're selected as the winner to move on to the region, which last year was in Gallatin. And we immediately started getting emails about, okay, send us your headshot, send us your bio. And we're like, guys, grab a camera.
Yeah.
We just got to go do a quick headshot. We literally were scrambling. It was freezing cold just to get a quick headshot of the three of us in the frame.
Right.
And I put together some bio and we were off and running.
Y'all always played music. You and Russell and your dad played music. I know we're going to talk about your grandpa here in a minute too, but your dad played music too, right?
Yeah, for sure. We kind of have fun stories of growing up. A lot of music in the house, but Dad had a Southern rock country band when country was huge in the 90s.
That's right.
And so we ended up doing a bunch of that cover song stuff, Leonard Skinner, Eagles, and then all the like country stuff of the day. And he did a bunch of at that point, he did a bunch of frat shows and stuff. And I remember being like 12 years old at like a frat gig, Of course, we usually got ushered out before it got too crazy.
Right. So when Russell and Stephen were in high school, they were playing music together. They had a band called Young Country, you on guitar, Russell playing bass. And I was just playing guitar very badly. And y'all asked me to join the band, and I didn't do much. I kind of stood off to the side and played rhythm and said I was in the band. So I want to thank you guys for letting me be in the band, even though I brought nothing to the table.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's good times.
So I fortunately stopped playing music. Fortunately for everyone else, I stopped playing music, but y'all continued to play music, graduated and went on. Russell, who's he been working for?
Well, he worked for several artists. We did several years with Steve Earle, which was big for us because he was a huge influence for us. And then he went on to work for about 12 or 13 years for Luke Bryan. He was a Luke's guitar tech until just recently, and he sort of got off the road, really to actually kind of focus on Garrett Boys stuff. So
that's amazing. And I'll never forget that video that Russell shared online when Luke let him come out and play Rocky Top on a guitar.
Yeah, he would always have Russ come out and do Rocky Top because he knew Russ was a big Tennessee Vols fan. We're big Tennessee Vols fans. So And he's a Georgia fan, so he couldn't really bring himself to do Rocky Top. But when they were in Knoxville, they needed to do it. So he would bring Russ out to do it.
But what a cool thing.
But
You know,
Russ actually had some really cool experiences from that. He went to like some more private fundraiser kind of things. He got to sing Rocky Top with Peyton Manning and all kinds of cool stuff with that. So it was a great experience for him for sure.
That's amazing. And of course, you never stop playing music. What have you been up to?
Music for me is just something that doesn't leave me. Like I can't really stop it. Like even when I've tried at times, songs just come and music's just in me, I think. So I've always sort of done it, even though there was a time where I wasn't making a ton of music, but I was working as a booking agent for a long time, just with some life changes that occurred or whatever. This Garrett Boys thing sort of came to the top, and it seemed like this is what we should be doing.
To kind of take it back, just broadly, to be a songwriter in Tennessee, it means something. It's revered. It's kind of a hallowed thing. But what do you think about being a songwriter in Tennessee?
Man, I think I'm learning that there's a lot of different versions of a songwriter. You know, there's kind of the factory version that happens in Nashville, which is not to be denigrated because it's awesome. And I've done a lot of that where you get in a room and you knock out a song in like 3 hours or less. And you just do that every day. And it's almost like I wouldn't say it's just a quantity, like trying to get as many songs out as you can.
Right.
You know, but then I'm finding that there are a lot of songwriters that are sort of like folk kind of folks all throughout Tennessee that don't come to Nashville very much and don't get their songs on the radio. And I think, you know, I'm starting to see a lot more of that. So, which is sort of a different thing, you know.
I've always thought that kind of music row songwriter was interesting. It's a cool thing, but what an odd job, you know, to go in and have to like find that inspiration every day to write something is really something else.
Yeah, for sure. And the guys that do that are amazing at it. And, you know, I've done it some, but it just doesn't resonate with me like what I'm doing now with Garrett Boys stuff, where I stew on a song for weeks, if not months.
I'm going to set up and play a little bit of a song. The first one I ever heard from y'all called Me and This Land. Set this song up for us a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the first Garrett Boys song that came. It was just sort of a concept that I had, and man, it really went deep. I mean, it was one of those songs where the first few times I sang it, it was sort of emotional, you know.
Yeah.
We grew up on a little farm up there in Overton County, and those roots go deep. We're probably 9th, 10th generation of being on that property and on that land. And it was just sort of an appreciation of it and a song about that.
Caught my share of catfish in all these little ponds. Over time we'll let them go, and now they're almost gone. Guess I'll always have the memories of these hills I'm growing up. Lately I've been wondering if that's gonna be enough. Maybe it's just dirt, maybe they're just trees. Maybe I'm just romanticizing history and the way things used to be. Now, to be honest, I'm not sure I even understand. But there's something between me and this land.
Yeah, Stephen, just what a great song. And that was the first song from y'all that I heard. And I mean, I could see that road. I could see that part of the country.
We grew up doing a bunch of chores on the farm. And as a kid, we absolutely hated it. And we didn't realize how good we had it, you know, to be on a property like that where we could just kind of run wild and take advantage of what it gave us, including work ethic, which at the time we didn't appreciate.
No.
But now I think we do.
Tell us about your grandpa.
Yeah, I mean, the music thing started with him. To our knowledge, there wasn't really any other music before him or in the family. So it all sort of started with him. And yeah, I mean, he the songwriting part of it too is like, I mean, he loved old 50s country and would cover a lot of stuff like that. But at some point early on, he started writing songs, and he was inspired to do that. And that obviously passed along to our dad, who did songwriting, and then on to us. So, yeah, I mean, and granddad played a big role in helping us learn to play guitar along with our dad. But we spent a lot of time with our grandpa, taught us those chords, and taught us a bunch of songs that are still with us today.
What's it like playing music with your brother for so long?
Yeah, I mean, it becomes a real natural thing. The more we play together, we learn each other's tendencies, especially, when we played in bands before, he would know where I was going. He could almost sing harmony to songs he didn't know the lyrics to, because he could just somehow follow me. And it's just something that's sort of hard to explain, and it's just real. That harmonies within families is tighter than any other harmony. I can't explain it.
Another special thing is you get to be in a band now with your son, Carter. Talk about how he came up playing music and joining the band and all of those.
Yeah, I mean, Carter's sort of an old soul growing up. I mean, when we talk about influences, I've got a pretty long list, but strangely enough, one of those really for me wasn't the Beatles. And for some reason, at a really early age, Carter became a Beatles fanatic.
Okay.
And he almost sort of introduced me to the Beatles in a weird way, especially some of the sort of, tracks that don't come to mind at first. And so that sort of developed, and he started just falling in love with music in that way. And then he went to Nashville School of the Arts to learn guitar here for high school.
Wow.
And so it really helped him to kind of take off, and he had some good teachers there. And he's played bass early on, picked up guitar, obviously a ton through NSA. And now he's starting to learn other instruments like mandolin, which is mostly what he plays with Garrett Boys.
Speaking of Garrett Boys, let's do play another one here that I absolutely love. This one's called Ride the Timber Down. You want to set this up?
Well, the cool thing about this song is my dad wrote it actually not that long ago. When he met my mom's grandfather for the first time when they were dating.
Okay.
He was explaining to him who he was and who his parents were and grandparents were. And one of those was Dewey Robbins, his grandfather on his mom's side. And he said, "Oh, I know him. I rode the logs down the river with him back in fill in the blank, 1921, whatever it was." And so it fascinated my dad about it. And so he asked his grandfather about it. He goes, "Oh yeah, I remember that. We rode the timber down to Nashville, and I walked home to Monroe, Tennessee." Which is like, for anybody that knows, now it's 100 and something miles. So I'm sure it took him multiple days, and probably maybe hitched a few rides on a wagon pulled by mules or something. But just so it always sort of sat with my dad as sort of a concept or idea. And when we started doing the Garrett Boys thing, he was like, "I think, I want to contribute here." So he just sent me a iPhone video recording of this song, and I did a few tweaks to it, and man, it became part of the set real quick and has moved up real fast to one of our favorite songs.
It's amazing. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break here, listen to a little bit of Ride the Timber Down from the Garrett Boys. You can find this on their website and find them on all their social media, but this is Ride the Timber Down.
He said 21, but his face said 17. And he asked to ride the timber down. Down the Obi River to Salina, Tennessee. On to Granville, all the way to Nashville town. Ride the timber down. Look out past Boone, there are plenty of good men drowned. Ride the timber down. Don't let the rope get slack. Better have a good man on the back when you ride the timber down. You could hardly bass and crosscut saws as the trees fell on the wild and mountainside. There's a log jam on the West Fork, but the water's moving fast. Soon it's time to let the timber ride. Ride the timber down. Look out past Boone, there are plenty of good men drowned. Ride the timber down. Don't let the rope get slack. Better have a good man on the back when you ride the timber down.
Can't wait to see what's up for you guys. You've got the show coming up in Portland this week. After that, what's next for the Garrett Boys?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to keep trying to add shows throughout the year. We're going to play the Bluebird in April, I think. That was one cool thing that came from Tennessee Songwriters Week. We got a relationship with the Bluebird and done a bunch of stuff there, which is a huge honor and a great thing for us. And so we'll do a spotlight showcase show in April, I think it is, and then several more shows later on throughout the year. And then the rest of the time, we're going to finish making this record, working with a great producer that would sort of like a dream producer opportunity for us. So we're going to keep doing that and hopefully keep this thing going.
Just as an aside here, talk about the Bluebird Cafe. Y'all got to play in there. I've seen a couple shows in there. It's a songwriter's bar, and there's some rules that go in there. Talk about watching shows at the Bluebird and playing there.
Well, I mean, if you've played, anybody that's played much music, you find yourself in a club or something like that where you basically become background music. And that's pretty disheartening if you've poured your, blood, sweat, and tears into these songs and you're ready to present them to the world and nobody's really listening. But that's not the case at the Bluebird. They understand the importance of the song. And so the rules are that you be quiet and that you listen and you've got an attentive audience when you're playing. So there's nothing like playing the Bluebird because you really feel like, people appreciate what you're bringing. And so anytime that we've gotten to play there, it's a great experience.
Absolutely. Well, Stephen, thank you so much for today. Best of luck to you and the Garrett Boys. Hopefully I'll see you guys out on the road pretty soon.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
He said 21.
Thank y'all so much for listening to this, the very first episode of State and Beal. Big thanks to Stephen for sharing his time and his stories. Best of luck to Garrett Boys and everyone playing Songwriters Week this week. You can find more information about the shows and the contest at the tnvacation.com website, so have a look and check out a show. All right, well, that'll do it for this episode. Thanks again. We'll see you back here in Tennessee next week for more State and Beal.
The timber down. Look out past Boone. There are plenty